All you hear is screams and the roars of warriors around you. You nearly choke on the smoke and sulfur lingering in the air from the spells slung by enemy wizards. You spit towards the ground. The taste of iron and blood has been pooling in your mouth. The weapon you wield in your hands is dragging in the dirt as the cords of your muscles grow exhausted. And then you see it. A massive beast of war let loose by the enemy soldiers. The monster living means the death of you and your allies. Cornered, outnumbered, and desperate, you focus inwards. Something sparks inside your soul, and it turns into an inferno. You are no cleric, but a moment of clairvoyance comes to you. Your enemies won't live to see tomorrow, and you feel nothing inside you but rage. Barbarians! Where do you even begin with barbarians? Barbarians are the fury-filled death dealers of the battlefield. When you wield a big enough hammer, every single problem in life just becomes another nail. Barbarians, if done right, are complex, introspective, and interesting characters that can also indulge into playing whack-a-mole with every single token your DM puts down on the battle map. Let's get into barbarians. I love playing barbarians because I like to play them like I have a death wish. My playstyle could best be described as me and the opponent going to race to 0 HP, and I'm praying that the dice put me in second place. I hate criticizing other people's playstyles, but if you're an overly cautious barbarian, you're playing the class wrong. Barbarians across all editions can easily have the most health of anyone in the party. No class illustrates the concept that health is a resource that should be used more than the barbarian. As a barbarian, you should see no functional difference between a victory at 1 HP or 100 HP. Each is still a victory. If all you've had to do is sacrifice your health while your party saves their health and their spell slots, you're playing a barbarian properly. But enough about mechanical discussion. Let's get into those juicy storytelling ideas. Remember, like with any class you play, whether it's barbarian or wizard, what have you, you are building a character. Just because you're playing somebody who dumped intelligence doesn't mean you lack common sense or problem-solving skills. You can still plan, improvise, and outsmart your enemies if you have an 8 in intelligence. It's fine. For character building in general, remember the KISS method.
Hey now, I'm never one to kiss and tell.
We all know that's bullshit. You were the first to spread gossip and spill that tea when asked.
Guilty.
But the KISS method. KISS is an acronym that means keep it simple, stupid. Don't bloat a character with details and 10 pages of backstory. I like to do this method where I think of traits that the character at their best behaves like this, and I pick 3 to 6 personality traits. And then I do the reverse, where when the character's at their worst, I pick 3 to 6 traits as well. To me, that keeps things simple, and it kinda gives you a little cheat sheet on how to act in certain situations. You can lean into your strengths when you're at your best, and you can exploit your own flaws when you're doing your worst. A recent example of a barbarian is Spear from the Adult Swim show Primal. This is what peak performance looks like. Look at that body. God, talk about fitness goals. Good lord. Spear is obviously a savage and uncouth, but he isn't stupid or cruel. In the show, he is shown to be kind, fatherly, patient, and good at improvising. These are very endearing traits to have as a barbarian. If he was just some heartless brute, that wouldn't be much fun to watch, frankly. In fact, knowing he can be a kind soul makes the brutality on display in that show have much more meaning and totally contrast to everything else. Give Primal a shot if you can. The show is excellent and it can show you exactly what you can do with minimal dialogue. Next up, another example of one of my favorite barbarians, the Doomslayer. Sorry for spoiling some of his story. The Doomslayer is a character that has literally gone through hell and back. He has suffered so much. he lost his status in the army, he lost his family, and most of all, he lost his pet rabbit. And then he gets put on ice for a little while, he wakes up, and then demons have ruined everything. It's no surprise at all that he's so vengeful and so angry, because all the demons and people that have ruined his life are still around, and it just makes the game a vehicle for enacting his vengeance. The reason for the vengeance needs to be there. If you're just angry and killing shit for no reason, it's just fluff at that point, and we want to have some meat to our barbarian. We don't want any fluff. But let's get to the example of all examples, the biggest elephant in the room. If you go to anyone in the street and ask them to name a barbarian, most of the time you're gonna get Conan. Before Dungeons & Dragons, and even before Lord of the Rings, we had Pulp Fiction, which, for those that don't know, Pulp Fiction is called that because in order to be printed cheaply, the paper they printed on was the lowest quality they could get away with. You could see the chunks of pulp in the paper, hence Pulp Fiction. And one of the most iconic Pulp Fiction characters in history is Conan the Barbarian. For those unaware, Conan is not an oafish brute. He is meant to be a foil and show the shortcomings of civilized society. Conan is loyal, he is honorable, he's got a good sense of humor, and most importantly of all, he is surprisingly intelligent and cunning. He does have flaws. Dude really likes the ladies, which, cheers bro, I can drink to that. Might be a product of the times, but he is a chivalrous guy. And to go a bit further into where Conan comes from, Conan and his people worship a deity known as Crom. Crom is a dark god of war that will bestow his blessings on warriors that ask for his aid, but not ones that beg for it. Crom sees that shit as weak and pathetic. Crom worshippers believe once they die in battle and enter Valhalla, they are offered a question. And if they answer that question wrongly, they are humiliated and laughed at and cast out from Valhalla. The question is, what is the Riddle of Steel? The answer to the Riddle of Steel is more philosophical than it is literal. Think of it as asking, what is true strength? And every person can come up with a slightly different answer. That comes in with the rage. Rage is the mechanic of the barbarian for a reason. For now, think about what rage is outside of stats and combat bonuses. Rage is a supernatural ability, and I'd argue that it is borderline magical. And yes, I'm aware that sometimes your rage can grant magical abilities. Conceptually, it's the berserk button. That thing, if that button is pressed, it makes your character throw reason out the window and throw caution to the wind. Rage is at the center of your barbarian character. You should spend a lot of time thinking about what your rage is personally for your character. Your barbarian is feeling something so overwhelming, it alters their body on a physical level. The rage can take many forms. It can be a genuine foam at the mouth rage, or mayhaps a determined, quiet battle focus. Or maybe it's a blind, drunken fury. But the rage is something that changes you on a physical, mental, and spiritual level. Think about, what did your barbarian have to endure to pull that level of emotion out? What drives them to rage? Is it the drive to help others? Does being thrust into combat activate survival instincts in your barbarian? Does seeing their allies threatened with lethal force cause this? Is it something outside of their control? And perhaps it's a whole arc of your barbarian character is learning to control and harness these violent outbursts for the sake of good. And so I ask again, what is the Riddle of Steel? What drives your barbarian to rage? What is true strength? These are questions that you should consider when you're rolling up a barbarian. And of course, you don't have to start there. I've seen some barbarians reflavor their rage as if it's them shape-shifting their form, as if they're affected by lycanthropy. But I have to ask, do you like to play barbarians? Do you want to now thanks to this video? Let me know in the comments. And feel free to let me know what topics you would like to see me tackle. This is the first part of my class series of videos, so I'm hoping I can get others done as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck with those dice rolls, and take care.